Okay, welcome back to part 2, and so we're going to start with another tranche of wonderful open mic poets. First of these is our very own P.R. Murry.
Thank you very much. This is another poem which I will dedicate to the poor people who died in the back of the lorry. And I wrote it not about them, but about other people who 20 years ago were trying to get across the channel by hanging on underneath the cross-channel trains. They can't do that anymore, but otherwise, I'm afraid to say, this poem is bang up to date. It's called Man Runs for Train. There's someone running for a train as the train moves off down the track. Someone doesn't stop because he's come so far. He's got to catch the train, there's no turning back. And inside the passengers sit back as the train gathers speed, rolling right on track. Now they know they're safe on the train. It should be in on time. In comfortable seats they start to relax. Someone makes a jump, a desperate dive. He might not get inside, but at least he'll get on board. If he can hang on as it rolls down the track, if he can find a handle or something to grip with hands or feet or arms and fight off the cramp, then the train will take him too. The train will take him far. The train will make him safe. The train will make him rich or stop him being poor if he doesn't fall away as the train rolls away, so that he rolls away as he falls onto the track. If he doesn't die right there as the passengers relax, if he falls off the train and he doesn't break his back, he'll get back up again and run for another train, unless he changes the plan and adopts a different strategy in regard to the logistics of being a refugee. He could float on a tyre or stow away on a ship. He could slip past a perimeter and get into the airport, or pretend to be cargo in the back of a van. He could even buy permits if he could find some money and sit back on the train as it rolls down the track while someone else does the running, because there will always be someone running for the train towards the dream before them with a nightmare at their back. Wow. By the way, that and many other excellent poems are in this book, Welling Up, published by Camilla's Hurley Press. So get a copy while you've got the chance.
Good point, Pete. Make sure you have a look at the bookshop before you go this afternoon. There's several good titles on there as well as Dandelion Child, a book that we're hearing quite a bit from this afternoon. Welling Up is a new anthology from Power Press, which Pete just mentioned. It includes lots of the poets who've been published by Power over the last 3 years. So, our next open mic performance is by somebody who's often been a featured poet at Dodo. Haven't seen her here for a while. She's often on her travels somewhere. So we're delighted to welcome back Ardella Jones.
Well, I thought I'd raise the intellectual level a bit this afternoon. And I'd like to do for you now a short poem which was inspired by the role-determined gender conflict and the sexual political dynamic in the relationship between Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir. It's set against the backdrop of the French existentialist movement and the prevailing hegemony of global capitalism. It's untitled. Jean-Paul Sartre was a great French thinker. He loved philosophising, but he was also a heavy drinker and prone to womanising. Yes, old JP had many sins. He often left Si sobbing while she typed up the mandarins. He was out illicit nobbing. When Simone's penned The Second Sex, that seminal feminist tome, Jean-Paul took up with his ex and was very seldom home. What good's an existentialist when he needs some TLC? He's just another bloke what's pissed. Bugger philosophy. This time he's really gone too far, Simone thought. He'd have to go. She tracked him to a seedy bar and pointed her finger so. Chauvinist pig, you're in for a dig. You've had one too many. If you want to carry on that way, then shack up with Jean Genet. And his other people, so you write. But to me, it's you, JP, you pile of shite. Now, as you can tell from this, I'm very woke. Yeah. I've been woke since about 10:30 this morning. And I thought today I would do something of a profound and political nature for you. It is actually my birthday today. Hey! I'm an official witch, I'm a Halloween person, and I felt that forevermore my birthday would be marred by being Brexitean. So I'm very glad that we've had a small reprieve. And so I penned this little verse. Ode to a line fornicating old Tonian scum. I mean that in a good way. I could even have a prop here. Boris Alexander de Peffel Johnson. So posh, so blonde, so rich. It's October the 31st today. Why aren't you dead in a ditch? And one more quickie, just to demonstrate that I'm a very Renaissance woman. This one is about art. And I actually wrote it when a friend of mine who's far more sensitive and intellectual made the mistake of taking me to a very avant-garde art installation in a derelict house somewhere in Deptford. And this is a true story. I call it installation. It's called Urban Goddess Contemplates Her Future, intones my friend, my would-be tutor. It's a bold statement of contemporary stagnation, a narrative on a dysfunctional nation, a postmodern comment, a post-witty whimsy, suggesting life's futile and flimsy. I crane my neck and strain to see this wondrous art in front of me. The gallery goers surround the exhibit, all agog, they don't want to miss it. The room pulsates with anticipation, a pious hush of expectation. The lights come up, a CD hums, there's a rhythmic chant, a roll of drums, and lying there upon the floor amid empty cans and an apple core, bound tight with handcuffs and a gag, is a fat bird in a black bin bag. I did say that rather loudly, and I haven't been taken out again to anyone else. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, Ardella, especially making use of one of the I'd like to see everything being worked hard in this kind of show. Okay, so please welcome Mark Salmon.
Hello. This is the first time I've ever ventured out into an open mic spot. I used to be in control of 30 kids for every hour of the day. So if you misbehave, God help you. I woke this morning at 7:30 to, hi friend, how are you? Nice way to start Halloween from my ex-wife. Soon to be divorced. She left me 2.5 years ago, and I have my second divorce. I'd like to tell you, I have a penchant for falling in love without thinking about it. And I'm intrigued by the manner in which I seem to do this so easily, and most of you here are now on that slope with me. I am in love with all you poets. This is a poem I wrote about the kind of, I think it's the kind of process of me recognising I actually am falling in love with somebody who I have sung in a choir with. It is always you who fades from view. You stand in my world whilst holding yours more than an arm's length away. Your face in its perfection seems calm as you bury yourself in another embrace. Yet I have moments, clarity and intense, until I see your furrowed brow, your look of here we go again, and your planned escape so kindly executed. It seems that each memory, a breath of life to me, is wrapped in that final walk away, in relief. I am toying with reality, I cannot match your gaze away. I yearn for each brief moment, each carefully placed syllable, each held out offer in failed response. Yet those moments are too important, too needed for me to stop my walk to you. I am toying with reality, I cannot match your turn away. I await your non-reply and your non-arrival as I fold each sign away. I await an anger that never comes. A here he goes again episode, so poorly scripted, so dramatic, this silence, this grumbling desire. I dream of energy and laughter, of running through each step of a carefree routine, gently, fiercely choreographed in splendid presence. You stand apart and just make yourself visible. Ah, tremulous heart, beat your faltering rhythm. This fool, so grandly titled, plays for the next laugh in ill-fitted costume, but unmasked, crafting ignorance with what-if hope. I am toying with reality. I cannot match your steps away. Thank you. Somebody has mentioned Ronnie Thomas, and I had the great pleasure of going with a member of her family to Larne, and spent a perfect couple of days, not least because Wales had won the Grand Slam, but we won't talk about rugby, not with what's coming up. Anyway, and I wrote a few things whilst there, and my very good friend, who I'm hoping you will hear soon, suggested maybe I look at some of the stuff I wrote then. So this is about Larne. This is about my reflections on Aeron and her father Dylan and that kind of stuff, and just being in that environment. So to Larne. Lost in poverty's lane, I caress your uncertainty and look to the hill to roll with us to the water's edge, in safely landscape patterns to cascade to and fro, demented but buffered, and rest on the pebble bed we wear thin our fear, washed in rising doubt. Inert we move in thought, sharing a breakfast of sea, salty lava slake, and quench our parched lips with its coarse, rocked refinement, while the gulls chatter above, waiting to join our table. We still are lost. As the light shadows our needs, we still are lost. As the light falls beyond us, we still are lost. Thank you very much.
Lovely to hear a rich Welsh voice this afternoon, because Frances, of course, her origins are in South Wales, Southwest Wales. Ronnie Thomas, too, of course, daughter of Dylan Thomas. So this brings us to our next open mic reader, who is in fact Ronnie Thomas's husband, Trefor. Ronnie passed away some years ago. We're very glad that Trefor is here this afternoon. Trefor Ellis.
Hello everyone. First things first, I'm not a poet and I know it. I was not the intelligent one of the household where I lived. October the 27th, 1914, Dylan was born. November the 9th, 1953, Dylan died. This fortnight, you all mentioned autumn, we knew it as a family as the Dylan fortnight. If you work out the dates. First, thanks for allowing me to read. I'm not a professional reader, but I'll do my best. The first poem I'm going to read is called The Shade. A chubby man followed me to the library, along the streets of Boston, past Dunkin' Donuts and Pete's Coffee and Teas, into the pharmacy for Vicks Vapor Rub, hence to Harvard and leafy trees. His shadow followed me up the steps, through the doors of the public halls. The throng already there greeted the shadow, and not me, with loud applause in the dusty halls, until he faded from sight to his proper shape, a shade. And I stepped forward, flesh and blood, to shout to the wind, the stars and the rain, to be acclaimed by the crowd in my own right, for a while free of the shame not to be him again, free of the shadow that keeps pace with me throughout my life, that dogs my steps. And a short poem that was read out at my wife's funeral 10 years ago, simply called Drum. I played the tin whistle for him, played the flute, played the violin, played the bassoon, the organ, the saxophone, the trumpet and trombone. He looked my way, and seeing me, looked away again. He only answers to the drum, ta-tum.
Thank you very much, Trefor. And our next poet is Keiran Buckley.
It's called The Cafe. He looks like Stalin, but he's actually very nice. He says they've soy milk, if you prefer it.
Could you speak up, please?
Okay. From the beginning.
Sorry.
Because those Welsh readers were so booming, I can't really.
Sorry. Because it's really difficult
In London, The Cafe. He looks like Stalin. He's actually very nice. He says they've soy milk, if you prefer it. He says all animals are welcome, particularly guide dogs. I say thank you, I'll keep that in mind. He is very nice, all he does, has to be said, he does, in certain respects, slightly resemble Joseph Stalin. He asked me if there's anything else I want, anything at all. There's nothing inherently wrong with his moustache. He is very nice, he is. He is very nice. But why am I staring at the phone at 4 AM expecting his call? Why do I continue to wait for a knock on the door? Why do I almost piss myself every time I pass? And he pops his head out and offers me a chai latte. It's called The Language. We all still speak the language. No other is heard in the town, but our fears are not unfounded. There is something in the air. There is something in the air I do not trust. There's no way of knowing how it will come. The possible ways that it may come, if it will come, are publicly, openly discussed. I do not listen to these. I listen to how the language is spoken. I watch precisely how it is listened to. But still there is no way of knowing what private discussions consist. I cannot sit in all rooms of the town at every moment. I have no doubt that when a husband speaks to his wife, that when a mother speaks to her child, they speak in a language. But I wonder what is the distance. In each overheard word in the street, there is something I detect. I listen to my voice speaking the language.
Trevor's poems were by Aeron, Thomas, that's correct, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so now welcome Kate B. Hall.
This is my collection. There are some on there if anybody's interested. I keep changing my mind because things are so strange at the moment. Anyway, I've decided to read my reason why I really want to make sure the NHS is okay. And it's called Thank You, Mr. Bevan. Always, according to my mother, a difficult child, at 3, I contracted double pneumonia and sank into a coma. My sister remembers sitting with our parents round the bed like something out of a Victorian melodrama. My mother, who had wished me dead many times since my conception, must have been forced to consider if she really meant it. And if she did, would it really happen? They were waiting for the doctor, who was doing a mercy dash across London in his grey Morris Minor to fetch penicillin, the new wonder drug, from St Bartholomew's Hospital, courtesy of the even newer National Health Service. My father told me years later that he'd never been so frightened in his life, though I'm sure the Blitz must have come very close second. So, I wouldn't be here. And it's feels kind of frightening at the moment. I kind of think, God, what's going to happen? Anyway, on another, I'm sorry if you've heard this before, I'm always reading it. It's one of my favourite poems that I've ever wrote. Terrible English. It's called Tribute. My aunt was a tart, a trollop, a whore, with too much makeup. I loved her. She made me laugh. She knew how to be with kids, knew what to say and how young you were when you started smoking, because she was there. She died from childhood abuse, multiple abortions, and the cancer nobody believed she had. My aunt was a tart. I remember her. She was beautiful.
Thank you, Kate. And Kate has bought some copies of her book, which is well worth. It's a jolly good read. I've got a copy, so do have a look at it. And next we have two more floor readers. Frank Crocker.
Taking you back to 1964, and I took a day off. Well, I played hooky from school, lied when I got to the cinema because it was an A film and you had to be 18 to get in. So, and I saw this new film and new fictional hero. You'll catch on. I practiced my sibilant S's, referred to my mother as M, rehearsed pithy, sardonic sentences, armed with my exploding pen. I fantasised about Ursula Andreas, rising from a shimmering sea. Maybe one day I'd escape North London and the same things would happen to me. I dreamt of exotic locations, casinos, palm trees and sun. East Finchley couldn't contain me. My adventures had hardly begun. I'd fling open the door to my bedroom and there, draped upon the Winciette, some Soviet KGB temptress offering me a night I would never forget. Good evening, Mr. Bond. We have been expecting you. Time to put you out of my misery. Thus speaks the villain with his headquarters way underground. Bond's squeeze at the moment is currently trapped and lies in a cell, gagged and bound. He battles with 100 henchmen. The counter-Armageddon beats faster. He dodges bullets, explosions, and a hungry shark. Bond is cool in the face of disaster. Whereas I was too shy to buy condoms from that pretty girl at the counter at Boots. I didn't have the cash to be measured up for German Street or Savile Row suits. Aston Martins were way out of my league. I'd make do with the bus or the train. I'd be lucky to have days out in Bognor, let alone Rio, Barcelona or Bahrain. At work, I had no money penny to swoon at my every word. Though at Christmas, I did snog Pam from accounts, so to a degree, I got shaken and stirred. Current poem. What's half-day closing, Grandad? What's a party line? What's a brothel creeper? What's a work to rule? What's a Mersey beat? What's a teddy boy? What's skiffle? What's a shop steward? What's a stevedore? What's a Johnny bag? What's a mild and bitter? What's a spangle? What's a twin tub? What's a mangle? What's a tallyman? Who was J. Arthur Rank? What's an outside privy? What's a mild and bitter? Was it like sweet and sour? Were winkle pickers something you wore? Were there really bomb sites in London 20 years after the war? What's a slide rule? What were threepenny bits and tanners? What did you mean when you said that Gran's mum had a face like a bag of spanners? 6 of the best, what was that? Did men always wear a suit, a tie, a coat and a hat? What's a bus conductor? What were rickets? What's a work to rule? What were flying pickets? What's a savings stamp? What's make do and mend? Did people really have their holidays in places like Blackpool and Southend? What were slipper baths? Did people have dirty slippers? Granny had a beehive. Why did she keep bees? Did doctors really do house calls? Was TB a disease? Were your swimming trunks really made of wool? Will I know as much as you do? Oh, please. Will I ever be grown up and sent... I'll do that again. Will I ever know as much as you do? Oh, please tell me do. Will I ever be grown up and sensible, or will I turn out just like you?
Okay, we're going to finish the open mic section with another voice from the Celtic Connection this afternoon. Please welcome John Hurley.
A few lines from the past, there's a lot of it. It was on Metal Road in my childhood. White dust swiddled in the summer breeze. I kicked spiky balls of Turkish hazel that laid in shadow of tall trees. It had straggling fences awash with bluebells, primrose clusters with deep yellow hue, the orange flowers of the wild Montbretia, all their petals soaked in the morning dew. The hanging flowers of the rampant fuchsia, watch bees steal their nectar for their hives. That soothing hum during the collection and their importance in all our lives. Today I hear roar of the morning traffic. White lines and tarmac shield the past. Trees and plants all decimated. My wonderland that did not last. And I'm a little bit frightened because it's got dark, because I had some bad experiences last Halloween. So I want to be home before midnight tonight.
Quite dangerous people too.
Sorry? The days are much colder and I'm getting older. Evening dark and the sky like lead. I feel so uptight, and it's All Souls' Night. I've neglected to pray for the dead. In the gathering gloom, a witch parks her broom. Things in her pot she is hoping will gel. Her cat arches his back as if under attack, swishing tail when she casts a spell. In a street down below where the police will not go, a man struggles up from his seat. He can stand no more of the noise at the door from yobs who shout trick or treat. And through the long night, I long for daylight. Teeming rain and the leaves tumbling down. There is no denying that most things are dying. Most colours are now black or brown. As a general rule, most kids are off school, sculpting pumpkins with unholy glee. They insert quills for teeth, an artistic feat, and it frightens old cowards like me. But much further down, at the end of the town, some fireworks then light up the night. It's the time of the year, Diwali is here. Thank God for the coming of light.